$500 holiday bonus cash. Toyota, let's go places.
Terry Chavez's parents were determined to help get their son-in-law arrested for their daughter's murder. So for their civil suit, the family's lawyers subpoenaed more than 50 people for depositions, with the hope of learning something new.
Please state your name for the record.
Levi Chavez.
Levi was called in to give a videotaped deposition.
Were you aware that Officer Wheeler was seeing your wife?
He'd always been cooperative with police in the past, but this time Levi was under oath. And now, as his lawyers invoked his Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination, Levi was far less chatty.
When do you remember receiving an alleged text message from Tara saying she might hurt herself?
We're going to assert the same privileges to that.
So little was learned from Levi that day. But attorneys also put his talkative mistress Rose Slama under oath. And in her deposition, she revealed something she had never told police, and later told us.
The night that I had talked to him, and I texted him, he's like, my wife just died. And I was like, well, what happened? And he was like, well, I don't know, I was in the shower, and I heard the pop.
Levi told you that he was there in the house, in the shower, and heard a pop.
Mm-hmm. And then when he got out, he had found her dead.
Levi's story to investigators had always been that he'd been with one of his other girlfriends, Deborah Romero, that night, and only found Tara dead when he returned home to check on her. But this story Rose says he told her is quite different. You know you're the only person that tells that story.
Yes.
You're sure that's what he said to you?
I'm absolutely positively sure.
This new story was puzzling to Jones, but it did match one thing the detective recalled seeing at the scene: a wet towel. And Rose had even more to reveal in her deposition. Remember, she'd been sleeping with Levi, but had also been a client of Tara's at her salon. Presumably you chatted with her the way women do with their hairstylists. Mm-hmm. And it was this double-edged role as paramour to Levi, and as it turned out, confidant to Tara, that would put Rose Slama at the center of this investigation and lead investigators to a possible motive. The last time she saw Tara, Rose says Tara told her something odd about that truck that had disappeared from the family driveway. You had a conversation with Tara about Levi's truck being missing.
We were talking, and I was like, well, what's going on with the truck? And have you guys heard anything about it? And she was like, it didn't come out stolen. And I was like, what do you mean it didn't come out stolen?
Rose says Tara told her the story of the truck being stolen had been a lie, and that she believed her husband Levi, the cop, was mixed up in something very illegal.
She said that Levi had some friends take it to claim the insurance, so he had the truck taken.
So Tara was very upfront with you that she thought that the truck's disappearance was part of an insurance scam by Levi.
Yeah, and she told me she was going to call the police and tell them.
And when she later saw Levi, Rose says she told him his wife thought that he was involved in some kind of scam. What was Levi's response when you told her all the time?
So she didn't know what she was talking about.
Levi maintained the truck was legitimately stolen.
Yeah.
Still, if Tara was telling Rose she thought her husband was a criminal, what might happen next?
I believe he was scared because she was going to turn him in, and he had a lot to lose.
To Detective Jones, that sounded like a reason for Levi to want to make his wife disappear. And he found more evidence to suggest Tara was planning to report her husband. 6 days before she died, the New Mexico Insurance Fraud Bureau received a tip about a fake stolen vehicle. The investigator's notes say the caller's name was Sarah, but later said he thought it could have been Tara. And in fact, the woman's contact number was for the salon where Tara Chavez worked. What did you learn from people who worked at that salon?
About 3 days prior to her death, she had told her boss that she had done something bad, that if she ended up dead, Levi killed her.
I feel a sense of responsibility for Tara's death, because if I never said anything
About the truck to Levi.
Yeah.
Then what?
Then maybe she should be alive.
As the Cordova's civil lawsuit wound its way through court, Detective Jones retired from law enforcement. But the revelations that came from the suit jump-started the investigation into Tara's death. and eventually caught the attention of